Hey Tramily, welcome to Tramily Tips number 4. This is going to be a little bit longer one because we're doing a pack with me episode tonight. I'm going to start off with the food that we're taking on this trip, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And really, I'm just going to do a straight order from start to finish because I feel like that's the easiest way to just talk through what we take on a typical 3-day, 2-night hike.
So as you can see, we've got a lot of goodies here. A couple of my daughter's things, like a couple of power bars that she picked out to take protein bars there, and also some of our trail mix bars that I really like to have both for breakfast or during the day. We've also got the wheat thins that will go along with our avocados when we make some avocado toast. So we have a little shaker with salt, pepper, and garlic salt, and we mix it up with the avocado. And I'll do that the first morning to get the weight off. A Cafe Bustelo and some hot chocolate or breakfast essentials, and also the other kind of coffee that I take. Always great for the morning, and also nice sometimes to have a hot chocolate in the evening on a cool night when you're sitting around the campfire. For our first night's dinner, we're planning on having a chicken packet, some Idaho potatoes, but then we also have these rich crackers and chicken salad mixes that we use a lot of times for lunch. And then on our second night, I've got the ramen noodles with a chicken packet to have for dinner on night 2 as well. Usually on day 3, I typically have oatmeal or a tiny breakfast bar or something. We got some beef jerky right here to have as a snack. It's one of my daughter's favorites to take on trail as well. Here's the oatmeal that we typically take, and the tiny breakfast bars. I typically just put the oatmeal inside a freezer Ziploc bag with some hot water in it, and I'm good to go because cold water just mixes with it in the Ziploc bag. These are smart water bottles, and various water bottles we'll be using for this trip. They're a little smaller than usual because there's a lot of water sources on this particular trip, and so we're not carrying quite as heavy and larger bottles as we usually do. And that is the bulk of all the food that we're taking.
They could actually fit in a typical water bottle. All right, so now we're going to move on to clothing. What kind of clothing are we going to take? With that, we're going to jump right in, and I'm going to flip this camera around and talk a little bit, first of all, about the weather. So the weather this particular weekend, I used atweather.org. If you don't know about that, it's a great resource because it gives you the actual weather up on the mountain. So often when you do a weather check, you're checking the town, which is often down in the valley or the lower sections, and does not reflect what it's going to be like on the mountain, which by no means is a guarantee, right? So never plan as a guarantee. For example, right now for that weekend that's coming up that we're doing this, there is a call for 100% clear skies. But I know up on the mountain, anytime you're on trail, things can change. So I'll at least take a poncho. I may not take my Frog Talk rain jacket that I just purchased, but I do plan to take a poncho. Also, it doesn't sound like it's going to be that cool. The first night, 41 degrees is the low. The second night, the low is 52. The high the first day is 67. The second day, 72. And what I'm checking here when I go to atweather.org is the shelters up on the mountain that are closest to where we're going to be camping. And so with that in mind, I still feel like at 41 degrees, if we get up early or if I have to get in the middle of the night, or if I want to hang out in the evening, maybe around a fire, I might get a little chilly. I might not, because I know I rarely am that cool at 40. But again, 40 changes when it's different, elevation, different situations. We're going to be anywhere from in the 4,000 foot to the 5,300 foot roughly mark. All right, as we keep on rolling here through the clothes that I'll be taking, this is a hiking pant belt that I bought because about 3 or 4 trips ago, the belt that came with my Academy pants broke right on the buckle area. So I bought this one. It's a plastic buckle. I like that better than the metal for a few different reasons. And it's real simple. The belt loop just comes, or the belt just literally slides right through that space right there, comes back into the loop and then locks down. It's just a really simple mechanism. And it came with 2 pairs for like 16 bucks. So far I've been pretty happy with it, but I've only used it twice, I think, so far. So anyway, got that. These are the gym shorts I'm taking, most likely to wear over the tights. If I don't take the tights, I will still probably take those gym shorts. either as an optional pair of pants or shorts to sleep in, to my hiking pants shorts, or if I'm not hot enough or cold enough, to wear the hiking tights, things like that. So still kind of weighing some options based on how the weather falls together, and really watching the weather forecast every single day on atweather.org. I was going to share a little more about that. When I do that, what I was going to say was I choose the trail, and then as you choose the state that you're in, that can be a little tricky by the way. If you're ever on a hike, say Roan Mountain, the Roan Highlands, things like that, because you cross back over between North Carolina and Tennessee. For pretty much everything from Georgia to Virginia, you're almost in and out of North Carolina and Tennessee for a good portion of that. So it can be a little tricky. You got to know where your shelters are to check, but if it's not in one, it's in the other in that section. But we're going to be in Virginia for this section, so I chose Thomas Knob Shelter because we plan to camp just on the other side of Thomas Knob Shelter, headed northbound. And then we're probably going to camp at the Scales Campground. So I was checking I think it's Old Orchard Shelter, which is not too far from there. So just to get us some better idea of what the weather's going to look like up there. And like I said, right now, looking good. If it continues to look that warm, it's very possible things like this beanie, gone. Things like those gloves, gone. And very possible, one of my favorite things to take a lot of times in case I get cold, but don't think I'll need, are these arm warmers. But I wanted to share them with you anyway, just because I love them. They're made by Sugoi, but there's a lot of companies who make these, Perluzumi and other companies. These are a cycling article of clothing that I used to use when I was bicycle racing, and I loved them and use them all the time. Just they're so easy to peel off. So on those days where it starts off at 40, and then you start to warm up and it starts to get close to 60, you just peel them off and you can throw them into a pocket or whatever. So great, but those probably gone. So looking closer at what we had here, I have 3 pairs of Darn Tough socks, which makes me feel incredibly blessed. And that sounds funny, but these things are like whatever, 20 bucks a piece, something like that. So they're not cheap, but they are darn tough, and they do have a guarantee, lifetime guarantee. So they're great. These are my favorite, usually offhand, just to go to because they have the AT logo and technically the sort of map outline of the AT, as you can see here, going straight up the socks. So that's kind of cool. I always dug that. Those were my first pair that I got. My wife then later bought me this pair and another pair for I believe it was Christmas this past year. So anyways, the other pair she got me are really great for winter cold weather. They're a little thicker, really comfortable, really nice to sleep in if it's cold, things like that. But for this trip, it's similar to weather I did, I want to say last October, and these two really hit the mark and did well for me on trips with that weather temperature. So using those again, what I plan to do at this point will be to hike in these on day 1, or actually sorry, these day 1 if it's a little cooler, sleep in these and treat it a lot like my shirt. My shirts, I always, if I take 2 for a 3-day hike or so, I'll wear the same one a couple days, sleep in one, and then not use the one I'm sleeping in until my last day on trail. I'll do the same thing with my socks. I will wear a pair on day 1 and 2 to hike in, sleep in a pair on night 1 and night 2, and then on day 3, the ones I slept in will now become my hiking socks to have a fresh pair. If you're curious, if I do plan to do some longer section hikes, maybe up to a week, definitely 4 days or more. And my thought there is to just kind of extend that plan, not to take any additional clothing. So, for example, these might be my hiking socks for 3 to 4 days. These are my sleeping socks, and then the last day or 2, these become socks to sleep or to hike in, and possibly sleep in. It also depends a lot of times on weather and how cold or warm it is and what you need. I do have a couple pair of my long, I like the ones that go down just over the thigh. They seem to help with chafing and things like that. They're not too long, not too short. They're Fruit of the Loom, my favorite ones that I've had. They're also moisture wicking, kind of keeps things cool down around your lower part of your body, which is important underneath your, hiking pants and things of that nature. Staying cool, always nice in that area. Even though you want to stay warm as your body, it's nice to have areas that are also keeping the moisture off your body so that your body heat can work properly. It's the best way I can kind of explain it quickly here. Then I have this Mission head covering. It's kind of a neck gaiter, but I use it as a head covering. So I pull it up and I basically just wrap it around and allow it to cover my head and kind of fold it up underneath itself. It works great as a guy who doesn't have, really any hair up top and just want to keep that area protected in addition to sunscreen. This is a lifesaver, and what's great is it's extremely moisture wicking, so I don't get hot on my head. It's thin enough and thick enough all at once. You'll see I have these gloves here. Sometimes I'll take these, or a glove, just pretty much to use to handle my toques camping cup, which you'll see here shortly. But in this case, I'm thinking I might just be able to use this guy, which is something I picked up from Dixie Mills. If you haven't seen the Homemade Wanderlust channel, definitely check her out. But she talks about taking a bandana and using it for so many different things, and one of those could be to use it kind of like a pot holder, right? Just wrap it up, grab your handles until they kind of get cool, and then you can use it that way. You can later use it to clean out your cup. You can use it for a number of things. So, and it's easy to wash, dry, and reuse. Actually, I don't want to throw that over there because we're going to be taking. The rain suit here I just got after about a year and a half of debating what to do other than a poncho. And so one of my buddies you saw in a recent video, Ben, was wearing one of these when we looked like we were going to be hiking through snow. He put it over his layers for warm weather. You'll see it's very light, 12.8 ounces for the entire suit, and I would only be using the top half most of the time. I probably wouldn't worry too much about the pants. I'd probably only take them if there was a chance of heavy rain, and I saw it being necessary. So I want to say that the, if I remember right, the jacket is only in the 6 ounce range, 6 to 7 ounce range, about half of that total net weight. So very lightweight, but again, on the way this trip is looking, I can toss those, and I can take just like a super light 1 ounce, whatever 2 ounce poncho from that I have as an emergency poncho if for some odd reason rain decides to come down on us. These are my trusty hiking pants. My wife suggested these from Academy, and I think they were like $15 when we got them. And now I use them every single trip. They do have the zip off legs, which has come in handy a couple times. I typically like to hike with as much coverage as possible. I have an extreme reaction, negative reaction, an allergic reaction to poison ivy. So I like having a little higher socks and a little bit of coverage. But if it gets hot, these legs come off. I throw those things into my pack, and so it's nice to be able to switch out to shorts. The other thing I like about them is they got some nice extra pockets. I've used them for my phone. I've used them to throw snacks in, whatever. I also like that there's zippers on some of the pockets, which can be really handy, or Velcro, and so those are really great too. So a lot of little handy things that can be useful when you're out on trail. What I also like about these pants is they're really durable. I don't know if I mentioned that yet, but the durability of these are pretty rough. So it's almost like what I like the idea about wearing denim in the woods when I'm working on the property that we own, is when I'm basically anywhere where I don't want something to get through it easily, or if I want to be able to sit down and scoop, or what if I fall or want to sit on a rock, I just don't want them to be too thin, but I also want to be breathable, and these have been really good for that. So I've really enjoyed these. I've used them on, I've used them on every hike that I've done, except for maybe the very first one when we did our very first shakedown hike. I can't remember if I had them yet then, but they've been great. So what I'll do is I'll wear those every day I hike, unless I get super cold, which I really doubt. But even if I don't, I know again at 40 degrees after a long day of hiking, I have had my muscles want to cramp up a little bit just due to age and tightness and not being able to get out there as much as I'd like. So these old cycling tights right here from Pearl Izumi are my go-tos, and to sleep in if I'm cold, and to keep my legs warm, and to keep the blood flowing good. I've also used them as a secondary hiking pant with a pair of shorts, which I don't have here in the mix right now. I'll probably grab those in a minute, but they're just typical either gym shorts or bathing suit type shorts, swim shorts, that I'll grab and throw over these cycling tights that make it just kind of a secondary option. And again, if I get hot in that situation, I can go off trail, find a spot, switch out from the tights to just the shorts, and be ready to go for warm weather. These are still kind of debatable on this trip. I hate to not pack them in case I get cold at night, because it'll help my blood flow and keep me from cramping in the middle of the night. I hate to pack them because it's another half pound or so that I'm taking on the trail, but we'll see. I'm doing 2 shirts. Now, keep in mind, some of these things will be worn. For example, the hiking pants will be worn day 1, and one of these shirts will be worn day 1. And the other shirt will be to sleep in both nights 1 and 2, and then I'll wear my sleeping shirt on day 3. So I'm, I feel really like blessed and spoiled, to be quite honest. These are shirts I got from Academy Sports, also kind of like the hiking pants. They're moisture wicking, and you probably may have saw in my last video that everything here was treated with permethrin spray, and then I let it air out for about a week and really dry and soak that in and be as aired out as possible. So that way it would be better, easier on my skin, I feel like, and really be soaked into the clothing to really be more effective. All right, so one of the next questions you may be asking is, what else? What else are you taking? We get your clothes, we got the clothes down, feeling good about those. But shoes, if you're curious, I wear Merrell's. I don't remember the actual make or the model, I should say, of the shoe, but great Merrell's. I love Merrell's. By all means, when it comes to shoes, I will say this: get what works best for you, what allows that front of your toes to move around. Make sure you get something that's going to be comfortable, allow your room to kind of swell and expand. Take in mind where you're going to be hiking, take in mind how long you're going to be hiking, all those kinds of things, and look for people who have similar circumstances to you when you go out. So if you're getting information from YouTube videos or others out on trail, you're getting it from people who have similar type feet and situations to you. It's also a good idea for sleeping bags. I'll be talking about my Celtic Cosmic down in a little bit, and same thing. It works great for me. I'm a fairly warm sleeper most of the time, but then I start to get cool in the middle of the night. I kind of like, it works good for me. That doesn't mean it's going to work best for you. It just depends on how your body operates. So make sure you're trying to kind of compare apples to apples when you're looking for a lot of these things. Next up, though, I want to talk about things outside of the clothing world that I'm taking, some of the supplies that we'll have with us down trail. This should wrap up everything that I'm taking on this trip, and it really is crazy. So I will try to do a link in the description to my lighter pack site for my list. It may have, like I said, some things on here, some things I'm not taking and some things that I am taking, but it'll give you a good idea of what I typically kind of have in my gear list to choose from. This is my 20 degree Celtic Cosmic down sleeping bag. I really love it. It is 20 degree rated more for survival. 30 degrees I want to see for comfort, but I gotta say at 30 I've been very comfortable and toasty, especially if I had tights on and my puffer and stuff. It just depends on how cold it really gets. But night one on my last trip where we woke up to the 5 inches of snow, I was fine. Like, I was good, plenty warm. I really feel like with the right gear, not too much, not too little, I could sleep in this down to 20 very comfortably. Much below that, I probably would be okay. I think I could probably get down to 10 degrees and be all right. Probably just a little uncomfortable as long as I have my beanie on and all my coverage. It also depends on what kind of sleeping pad you have under it. Right now I have a fairly inexpensive sleeping pad. This one was about $30 on Amazon. It was one I saw some good reviews. That's my Marmot Ajax tent that I have been keeping stored in a trash bag during its hiatus from trail, but it's being broken back out. If you're curious, why now? Why am I taking this one out on trail instead of the Land Shantou? Don't get me wrong, please know I will be using that Land Shantou every chance I can. I loved this sleeping bag. It was like my first real, this tent. It was my first real backpacking tent. When my wife got it, I was so excited. I set it up on Christmas Eve. I used it like I slept in it on Christmas Eve with my daughter. Like, we were just crazy happy about it. But we got it for the primary purpose of me either sharing with a buddy out on trail, which I did with my buddy Brian last April, or we also got it for situations where more than two of us might go that could fit. So my wife and daughter easily with me could fit in this 3-man tent, believe it or not. So just because of our size, our heights, etc. So we're able to fit in there comfortably. Well, on this trip, because it's gonna be me, my daughter, and my niece, and I don't want my niece having to sleep alone or my daughter and niece sleeping without me, just at their age and things, I decided let's break this back out. With the footprint, it still weighs, I wanna say around 6.5 pounds, somewhere in that range. So that's with the tent stakes and everything. So when we split it up, I'll carry probably 3 to 3.5 pounds at least. My daughter will carry a pound, and a half, and my niece will probably carry about 2 pounds or so and 2.5, and that'll get us to 6.5 without having to make any one of us carry too much weight. In addition, one of my favorite things to take, my daughter got me this a while back, was I just need to go camping, and this is a foldable frisbee, and it's a really fun thing to take. I won't steal her thunder on one of the other fun things that we like to take. Again, check out her video on her Pack Me video that she's doing, the Pack With Me video she's doing for this trip as well. Something I take often is just a couple of these portable aqua tablets, or I'll take the bottle. It's really late. are really light. I have to say, typically speaking, I never really see a need for this. The water I usually found it seems so clear and so good that I feel comfortable just using the Sawyer squeeze. But if I ever felt any concerns related to the quality of the water, I would throw this in, wait 30 minutes, I think is what it is, let it activate, let it do its job, and then still filter it through my Sawyer filter more for taste at that point. This is my bear vault. So I have been debating whether or not to get one of these bad boys for a while, and decided to get it. It doubles, it's the BV 500. It's the larger of the two. It is big. It's very big. Just to give you an idea, I'll put my arm next to it here. See if I can give you, it's not quite to my elbow, but it's really close. But the reason I got this was because, again, I often go with a lot of folks, and a lot of folks who have not been on trail before. And if I went somewhere where there was bear activity or I was concerned, I didn't want them to have to worry about their food or me worrying about any of our food. I wanted an option to my bear hang bag that I love using, which is a scent lot bag from Bass Pro that I picked up. And I really use that usually with multiple Ziplocs, the freezer Ziploc bags. I try to double or triple everything. It helps at least somewhat with scent proof. I know bears can smell things from like 10 miles away or whatever craziness, but I'm going to do whatever I always can to try to make things as safe as possible, especially when it comes to food and critters getting to it. Right now I have this already loosened, and here's a tip. If you get a bear vault and it's as hard for you as it is for me to open, don't close it until you're ready to put it out and keep the critters out of it. I learned that the hard way, and now so what I do is just keep it loose unless I absolutely have to close it up for the night to put out into the woods and keep the critters away. That way I'm only really having to loosen it and open it one time in the morning each time. I'm gonna pull things out of here. This is things that I used probably on the last trip, so it may or may not be things I'm using on this trip. You got my little fork spoon here. I know a lot of people like the longer titanium fancy spoon. I would love that if anybody wants to give me one, but until then, this still does the job and I'll continue to use that. This is that scent lot bag I was talking about a minute ago. Looks like there's some things inside that. Let's see what all's in here. This is my Hiking Venture Ultralight sleeping pillow. I love this thing. I air it up to where it's just soft enough to still give a little bit. I like it there's a little give, so it feels more like a natural pillow, and it works amazing. It was also something I compared to one of the higher end pillows in shape, style, and size, and just went for it, and it has paid off dividends. Here is my little container that works, my little baggie for my totes pot, and it's got some hot hands in it. Won't probably need those this trip. And then it's also got my little pocket rocket inside, which will be going inside that bandana and then inside the totes camping pot. And I've got an extra cup here, my lighter. Again, that cup will probably not go on this trip. I probably won't have a need for it. Oh, I got a lot of fuel in here. Wow, I probably did not need to buy a fuel can. Okay, well that's good to know. So that will probably be coming on this trip. Let's see the brand new one I just bought. There's some of my old Sawyer system. I got a little notebook in case I wanted to write or something other than using my phone. And believe it or not, it looks like some leftover food items, including some potatoes and some chicken. I'll have to see if there's anything expired. And then that little guy right there on the left, on one side has garlic salt, and on the other side has a mixture of I want to say a little bit of salt, mostly pepper, so I can easily do a little mixture. That's how we do our avocado toast when we make it. And funny enough, you can see right through the bear vault and see a bear claw, so that's kind of awesome. And that will be going with me. So that pretty much shakes out everything that's going with me on this trip. The next thing I'm going to do is show you how I pack it. I will not take a ton of time. I may even do some time lapse on some of that, but I definitely want you guys to see how I pack my bag.
once I have everything ready to go and I know how I'm going to pack everything, I've got my sleeping bag to go in. The bottom of my pack, after I've put my tent in the very bottom, I'm going to go through my clothes and pull what I plan to use the first day, like my head covering that I just tossed to the side here. The head covering helps protect my head from the sun. And then I'm going to pull a pair of socks. These are my warmer pair of socks. I'm going to fold those up and I'm going to go ahead and put those to the side because it's going to be a little cooler day 1 than day 2. Grab my hiking pants. Already got the hiking belt, I think, with it. I was going to throw those to the side here as well to use on day 1. And then definitely going to go ahead and throw the puffer to the side. Even though I may not wear the puffer jacket on day 1, not knowing exactly what the weather will be like up on the mountain, I want to at least keep it to the top of the pack just in case. So I'll go ahead and toss it here to the side and have it ready, even if I don't wear it right away when I get started. Same thing with the beanie. Keep it just in case I am cool enough to wear it. I'll need a pair of underwear, of course, for the first day. So I'm going to go ahead and grab these black ones, throw those to the side. And then I need a shirt. So we're going to take a look. I've got my blue one and my black one. They're pretty much the exact same type of shirt. They're a moisture wicking shirt I get from Academy. I like the blue, I like the black. Do I want the blue? I don't know. I really kind of like the idea of going with the darker color sometimes. So I'm going to throw the black one here to the side and wear that on day 1, I think. Yeah, definitely the black one. And let's see what else we got here. Everything else I think is going in the bag, and we're going to toss the frog togs over here since it doesn't look like there's enough rain in the forecast to carry them.
Next up is the bear vault. And the reason why bear vault has to come next is because I'm going to be packing it down into my sleeping bag as tight as I can and packing other items around it inside the pack. The trick with this is I got to put all my food in to see what space I have left for other things like clothes or that little foldable frisbee. But then I have to take all the food out and put the clothes in first so that they can pack in here and put the food on top. And the reason for that is, of course, any of that food that I want to get access during the day, I don't want to have to fiddle through a bunch of stuff that's on top of it to get to it. There's probably other things I might be able to put in here, like my totes pot or my stove and things of that nature. But I won't know until I test it out. So let's see how that goes. little stuff around. So what I tend to do is I have two side pockets here, and I like to use them for all the quick emergency stuff. I usually make one side what I call my sort of emergency supplies. It could be anything from bug spray to my first aid kit, things of that nature, to my other side, which is my potty side. So that is my hand sanitizer, my toilet paper, and my trowel. And then, so bug spray. I'm actually thinking about putting the bug spray in a side water pocket because one, I will not be using both water side pockets for water. One will have water, and then I have a strap here that actually holds one of my water bottles right on my shoulder strap. Really, I can get to it real quickly. So do that. Emergency side is going to be poncho in the unlikely event that we do get rain. First aid kit, quick to grab easy. Trowel. By now you know which side that's going on, over here. And the great thing about this is when you have some sort of system, and the more times you go out, the more likely you are to get a system down, then the easier it is to find what you need. So now, again, in the unlikely event something happens, I get a cut or hurt, I know to go here for my emergency supplies, right? If I get in a situation where stomach's bothering me or I need to use the bathroom, I know real quickly I can go over this side to the products I need from over here. Speaking of which, toilet paper, which this will get transferred, just so you know, into probably a Ziploc bag later. Kind of like the hand sanitizer was. I actually have two hand sanitizers here. So one will probably end up going with my daughter if she needs one. So that way helps. I'm actually going to put the little bottle cap I mentioned earlier for pushing down tent stakes on the emergency side, which just kind of makes more sense. It's really small, it's going to sit at the bottom there. The knife will probably end up going later on my shoulder strap or my belt, but of course on the emergency side for right now. Missed opportunity, like there often is. This little guy, my foldable frisbee, will probably end up going into that bear bowl or just back into my main compartment, but we'll see. I'm actually almost done. I do have a few other fun things, like my little notebook, which I'll probably just store somewhere like this up here in the brain. So if I want to write something down, I get some inspiration at some point, I can grab it pretty easily. Snacks I usually put in the top portion of the brain for even quicker access, which is right here. Now my brain is not a removable brain, and I know that's a joke, it sounds like, but it's not. This brain is not removable. Some of them are, like in my daughter's Joyner ACT Lite. You can actually move this and carry it separately or just not carry it at all. But again, like the pack, like the way it works. You might have been wondering about my tent poles and tent stakes and where are they gonna go? Honestly, they're probably gonna be carried by my daughter and my niece because we're gonna split weight, and I've already packed the entire body of the tent in the bottom of my bag, as you saw. However, if I was carrying them here, what I tend to typically do is use one of the side pockets that are used for water, and then I typically take one of the tent pole type straps and strap it around there, kind of like this, or there's another strap somewhere in here I used, or in the front there's also like a mesh pocket with some straps, but there's a couple different ways I've packed it on here if I've had to carry it, but it's definitely something that goes on the outside. I have occasionally tried to put it on the inside, but it sticks out, it's kind of awkward. I'm not worried about tent poles ever getting wet, so even if it was raining, it would easily be covered by my pack cover, my rain cover, so that's easy. That's pretty much it. And what you'll notice is I packed light on bottom, heavy in the middle towards the kind of top. The weight seems to carry way better that way. Now, I am not a professional when it comes to pack fit. The guys at REI and the ladies there, they are. So I definitely recommend getting someone who is, or watch a couple of the YouTube videos. I'm just going off of some of that, and that's where I've learned, and it's worked for me. So I put my tent on the very bottom, just to kind of give you a reference. The tent here, I've got my sleeping bag here, and then my bear vault in here with almost everything in it, except for a couple things like my sleeping pad, which I shoved to the side, and my sleeping bag liner, which I shoved to the other side. So we'll pack. The back is nice and straight. I don't have any crazy lumps or bumps or anything of that nature. And this is how I carried it last time. The weight carried it perfectly well. I hope you enjoyed the Pack With Me video today. Remember, if you like this kind of video and you like this kind of material, remember to like and subscribe. We don't only just do this kind of videos, but also, of course, you'll see the video from this weekend section hike coming up in a week or so when I get a chance to put that one together and post it. All right, we'll see you out on trail. Hey guys, you might have been asking, where are you going to put the Sawyer filter? Well, that's probably going to ride on one of my water bottles. That's what I typically do. And the water bottle that goes on one of the side pockets I mentioned earlier, this will be screwed right to the top. If there's any accessories that I need to carry related to this water bottle, like the little bag that you fold up everything, that goes in the top ring with my snacks in a Ziploc bag or some kind of protective bag so that I can quickly get to it whenever I need to at a water source. So a couple things that I kind of packed separately that I wanted to make sure to sneak into this video is I did do a quart-sized bag with some flushable wipes. I won't be flushing them anywhere, but yeah, I just usually get the cheap wipes from Walmart. There's a lot of good wipes out there. The Dude wipes, the Sawyer wipes, I think there are. They're like all kinds of wipes. Good ones, whatever you feel best about. I tend to like to go with something as scent-free as possible, but something that's going to clean well. Goes in a Ziploc bag. I usually take, not usually this many, but at least 2 or 3 extra of the large freezer bags. I like to double Ziploc any food, especially when I'm hanging versus the bare bag. But again, anything to help reduce scent. And then one of them is going to, at least be one of them, is going to be one of our trash bags to pack out any trash as well. Those I'm just going to kind of roll up and kind of throw anywhere, to be really honest. I won't need them for a while. And I'll probably end up putting them in the bare vault when I'm not using them.